Welcome back to another episode of the Wingin' It Outdoors podcast. I'm your host, Caleb Hall. We've got a lot to unpack for you today. I have a lot to unpack for you today. Just talking a little bit more about me, as well as some other hunting tips and tricks like that I've got. Uh, Again, we're in the off season right now, so there's not too terribly much that I can do, but I can talk about all kinds of junk. So that's kind of the plan for today. Hopefully, the mic quality is a lot better and the video is a lot cleaner looking than the last episode. I don't know if you guys noticed, I do actually have a shirt now. Uh, I wound up getting this made last week. Should be getting a couple of more made and working on getting a design on the back right now. This one's just got my YouTube handle on it. So here before too long, there should wind up being some merch. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We'll just kind of have to see what the turnaround times is on getting that stuff made. So without further ado, I will get into it. I've got my topics wrote down on my phone here, so if you see me looking down at my phone, I'm reading off my different topic points because I have such bad ADHD. If I was to just start talking and try and just do it off the dome, then there's no telling where this conversation is going to go. So, yeah, I'm going to be talking about what I look for in hunting locations and why I like to hunt them. Me specifically, I am a really, really big proponent of feed trees. So, any trees that are out there that those deer are hitting at the start of season, which if you're lucky and the white oaks drop a little bit later than normal around here in Oklahoma, the white oaks are great. But I have most of my success actually hunting like pin oak stands. I don't know why. Some of the particular properties that I have access to hunt on, the deer just really, really like those pin oak acorns. Uh, I like that. Anytime I can find like maybe a little stand of persimmons and stuff like that out here, or like a little persimmon thicket, the deer also will really like that. As soon as that first frost hits and they start to ripen up and start falling, it tends to be really, really solid. Um, and I like those pin oaks the most because I saddle hunt, and it just seems like they make the perfect tree for saddle hunting, and the deer just seem comfortable in them in a really weird way. Which I mean, I guess it makes sense if they're sitting there and they're eating, then obviously they're going to be comfortable. Um, but yeah, I really enjoy those pin oaks. I also like hunting like funnels, any type of solid funnel I can find. Which where I'm at in Oklahoma, it's relatively flat, so there's not really too terribly much like steep terrain or like saddles to hunt and stuff like that. At least where I'm at. So anytime that I can find some little funnels or just something that's going to get those deer channeled into one spot, or like trail intersections even. I really, really enjoy those. Uh, just because I can go and kind of pick a spot, climb up there, and chances are I'm going to see something. I don't really necessarily worry about, oh, well, I need to make sure I'm looking at this mature buck, or I need to make sure I'm hunting this scrape line even. I mean, obviously I'll hunt scrapes. I think everybody will hunt a scrape, but I like seeing stuff. I'm not in the business of, okay, well, that big buck's either gonna come in and he's gonna walk right past me and I'm gonna get a shot at him, or I'm not gonna see anything that day. Not a fan of that. I would much rather be entertained in the stand the entire time. Keeps me from moving less, keeps me less antsy, and so any trail that I come to set up on, I'll hunt. Which I mean, come come fall. Golly, there's a fly in here. Uh, come fall and around the rut, those bucks are gonna wind up going wherever those does go anyway. So in my opinion, the earlier you can find does, the better, honestly, because those that you're gonna know exactly where those bucks are gonna want to be in that moment, and you're gonna increase your odds a lot. That was something that as a younger hunter I didn't realize was okay. Well, eventually, at some point throughout this season, there's going to be about a week and a half long period where those bucks aren't going to care about anything except for the does. And they're going to run those does down and they're going to breed them and move on to the next. So once I finally got that figured out, it increased my odds, and I saw a lot more success. I was seeing a lot more quality deer. I was seeing a lot more mature bucks, and everything came together for me. So that's typically what I look for. There's several other hunters out there I know of. Like I've got a buddy that has a lot of success, as weird as it sounds, hunting over poison ivy. They'll go through there and they'll forage and they'll eat poison ivy. I haven't seen that, but I would not doubt it in the least. Uh, and then there's other people that'll swear by feeders around here, which me personally, I'm not a big feeder guy. I think I might have poured out 100 pounds of corn last season. And the corn that I poured out, I didn't even hunt over. I'm just pouring it out to kind of scope out the area before the rut, to see what deer are in that area. I just really haven't had much success hunting over bait when it comes to mature bucks. I feel like a lot of times they kind of can associate those things with people or human interaction, and because of that, I feel like they tend to steer clear of me. So try my best not to feed if I can, and I just look for those feed trees. I really stuck to the feed tree method last season, and that's what really, really changed up my whole entire mentality about hunting. Because those feed trees, if you can find them and you can find where those bucks are going through there and eating, then if you can catch them before rut, that bachelor group is going to go crazy. And a lot of times, if those bucks are there, then I can almost guarantee you the does are eating there too. So put two and two together, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. So that's kind of what I look for there. Nothing too crazy. Uh, I gotta turn this thing off. I apologize, guys. Well, if I can turn it off. I've got a deep freeze over here out of frame that is just humming right now. Oh well, I tell you what, I'm going to hope and pray that you guys cannot hear that, and if you can, I apologize, and I will find the off switch for that thing uh, in the next episode. So, my second topic I'm going to talk about is what got me started loving hunting. And I had always hunted with my dad, sitting in the blind and stuff like that. My dad's more of a ground hunter than he is a tree stand guy, which not knocking that because I've had success on the ground too. Um but hunting with him, and I was young enough where it was just me and him in that blind, and I really wasn't worried about the deer. I was more worried about coloring or playing on playing on a Nintendo or something. Um, but I'd enjoyed it. I'd seen some deer and stuff like that, and I'd had some opportunities and some chances, and just really wasn't that interested in it yet. And then I want to say I was probably 7 or 8, and my dad and my pawpaw actually took me up to my pawpaw's hunting lease up around the Norman area, and we hunted out there. It's a really cool sit. It was the first day of youth gun, and so my papa had gotten me, I think the year before last, a little youth model Rossi 223. Still have that gun. It's a great rifle. Um and took it out there, and we were sitting in this little log cabin blind uh, in front of a feeder, and it wasn't really seeing anything at first light. Waited about 45 minutes, and then out of nowhere, this little, what we thought was just a small doe comes up. And I look at my dad, and my dad's like, "Yeah, you can shoot him." And I'm like, "Oh man, okay." So I'm getting myself ready, getting all situated, and I shoot it, and it was a quick, painless kill. Pretty much dropped it. I mean, it ran a little bit, but ran over and fell probably 15 yards from where we shot it. Walked up to it, and it was a little button buck. And from that moment on, after pulling that trigger and feeling the adrenaline, and then going through the process and getting to see the beauty of, like, I guess where the food that I get to eat every day comes from, was really cool and really rewarding to me. And from that day on, I was pretty much hooked. and rifle hunted a ton. Uh, had a crossbow, killed a couple of deer with the crossbow, and then I want to say it was my 14th birthday or 15th birthday. My dad surprised me with it was a Hoyt Charger, really nice bow, and really enjoyed that, and got to take a couple of deer with it. And now I have since transitioned to what bow am I shooting this season? It's a Bear Alaskan XT, and really enjoy it. I had a Bear species last season that I was using just to test the waters with bear, because I've heard some great things and I've also heard some things that aren't so great. But man, I'm telling you right now, that bear is the sweet. Those bear bows are the sweetest shooting bows I think I've ever shot. Super smooth, great let off on the back end. There's no real big peaks or valleys in the draw cycle, and man, you get that thing tuned and it just goes where you want it to go. Um, and so I've been hunting with that. Uh, that's what I shot. I shot my buck last season with a bear with my bear species, and then this season I was looking to upgrade. I just wanted a little bit longer axle to axle because I also wanted to get into doing some like 3D archery shoots and stuff like that. So I was like, well, what can I go with? So I started looking on that website and saw that Bear Alaskan XT, and I was like, hey, I'll do it. Uh, I don't think I've actually shot that thing yet. I've drawn it back plenty of times, but I've got to go and get it set up the rest of the way, and then go out there and get it tuned. And once I get everything tuned and stuff, I'll do some videos going over my bow and my shot and all that stuff. Uh, but yeah, that shooting that button buck was going back to the main point, because again I squirreled off. Even though I've got these notes, um, that button buck was what really got me started. And I feel like a lot of people's, like what got you into hunting moments really aren't much different. I think it's getting to see the stars align for the very first time and then going, holy crap, this is really stinking cool. And again, it's super rewarding knowing that, we're blessed enough to be able to get into a position to where we can kill our own food and harvest that meat and bring it to the table and provide for our family in a way where we don't have to worry about, I don't know, we can have clean meat if we want it. That's what's really cool to me. I don't have to go to the grocery store. I can go out there and I can sit up in a tree and I can shoot deer, and I can know exactly where that meat came from. I can know exactly what that deer was eating. So that's pretty much what it is for me, and it's just super rewarding, man. Uh, Next, it's gonna be what I wish I knew about hunting starting out, and this is a big one. I could go forever and ever and ever and ever. Uh, Once I shot that button buck with my dad, that was kind of, I think that was one of mine and my dad's last real hunts together, where we were sitting together. I mean, obviously I'll still go on hunts with my dad and stuff like that, uh, but he lives over in Alaska now, so I don't really get to hunt with him much. Uh, but that was kind of whenever I branched off and was like, hey, I want to go start chasing these things myself. Like I would, obviously I was still a kid, so he would walk in there in the woods with me, but he'd walk me to my spot and go, hey, good luck, blah 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 blah, love you, let me know if you kill anything, and started doing it myself. Uh, and there was a ton of stuff, which obviously in that moment, I was probably getting close to being around a teenager at that point whenever I started hunting, strictly by myself. And of course, every teenager in their right mind, or what they think is their right mind, thinks that they know everything. So I probably thought I was a pro. And there was, it's crazy once you sit and you start to realize how naive we really are and how smart those deer are, especially those mature bucks. It's absolutely insane. Um, so I wish that I would have just known to slow down, if that makes sense. Which, I mean, kind of think about it and you're like, man, if you're bow hunting, you're sitting in a tree. What do you mean by slowing down? I mean just slowing everything down. slowing everything down and processing things a little bit deeper, and just being able to really put a hunt together, if that makes sense, would have been huge for me in my earlier years. But again, I was trying to be a lean, mean killing machine, so I wasn't really focusing on anything like that, and I was just essentially focusing on, hey, what can I do to put myself in the best spot here? And there were some days where, thinking back on some hunts now, I'm like, man, why did I even do that? And it was just because I wasn't sitting down, I wasn't actually game planning my hunts. Uh, I hope there's a lot more people out there like me in this aspect. Not saying that I'm perfect, but now, now that I'm getting a little bit older, which I mean, grain of salt, I guess. I'm only 25, but I've really started to try and go into the woods with the mentality that I'm going to learn something every single time I step foot in those woods. And I do. Once I kind of started opening that door and that perspective to looking at hunting that way, I've learned so much. I wouldn't have learned about those feed trees last season that I shot that buck under. And I wouldn't have learned about those trail routes that those loops or those loops that those bucks were running those does on. Uh, I wouldn't have been able to see any of that in my younger years because I was just not willing to sit down and be patient and I guess just listen and looking at the things that God's putting in front of you, if that makes sense, uh, would have helped me out tremendously as I was or when I was younger. Uh, what else is next? Talk about what gear I hate and what gear I can't live without. So this is kind of touchy, and I want to know your guys' opinions on all this stuff too. So let me know down in the comments if y'all are watching. What things specifically that y'all like that I talked on, and some different things that y'all do as well. Because anything like that is always super cool to me. Try and get the comments engaged and just get to talk, man. Everybody can learn something from everybody. So as long as we got open-minded people in here in the comments, then we should all be able to have a great conversation down there. Uh, the gear that I hate. I understand that hate is a strong word. Uh, so I guess I mean hate in a metaphorical sense. Not that I can't stand it, won't ever use it. Just gear that I don't really see a reason for. Uh, hmm. It's a tough one. Honestly, that's a really tough one to think about. Honestly, a massive inconvenience of me is backpacks. I don't know why. I understand how important having packs are for hunting. They're huge, super important, but I can never actually bring myself for whatever reason to spend the money on a good quality pack. And I've got a good buddy that hunts with, he's a big gear guy, so he loves backpacks, loves any little packs that he can put things in, he's all about. And I cannot see the reasoning behind going out and paying for a pack. And after last season, my perspective on that has started to broaden a bit, just because I did transition from a climbing stand and tree stands to a saddle, and you got to have a solid pack to be able to hold your sticks, your platform. For me, like I rappel down whenever I'm descending from the tree, so I've got to have my a good pack for my rappel rope and my figure eight. So a pack is one thing that definitely is inconveniencing to me, but I understand why people have it. And then gear that I can't live without, honestly, are I cannot think of the name or the brand, but I bought these scent wafers, and they are fresh earth scented, and that is what I keep my camo in, and what I keep my camos, I guess, seasoned with. Uh, and I really like it because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I've hunted in some wrong winds. I've had the wind switch up on me in the stand where I'm sitting in a spot where it's just too good for me to want to leave, and I'm like, well, I'll just risk it, you know. And those deer, it seems like they just act like I'm not even there. And I understand that thermals play a huge role in that, and that's probably why I'm still getting away with it because getting winded and thermals are two different things. Um, in the grand scheme of things. So I understand that, but man, those fresh earth scent wafers. It's just like, I guess the closest thing I can compare it to is like if you go out there in the woods and you were to kick the leaves over and then just grab a handful of that dirt and smell it. That's what it would smell like. My wife hates them because I come home and I smell like dirt, but the deer really don't seem to mind it. Um, and I'm gonna try and get into the habit this year of getting a separate bin for my shoes, because it kind of makes no sense, honestly. I was sitting there thinking about that last season. I go through so much trouble to season my, or I say season, to scent my camo in that earth scent, but I'm not scenting my shoes. Now, whenever I get out there, I'll kick some dirt up and stuff like that before I actually walk in on my shoes to try and avoid any foreign scent. But I know it's not going to compare to, being able to throw my boots in a bin and let them get scented up that way. Uh, Another piece of gear that I really can't live without is a solid bow hanger, especially with saddle hunting now. When you're in a tree stand, you can kind of get away with just lapping it, or what I call lapping it, which is just sitting your bow or your rifle in your lap and waiting that way. But man, you get up there in a saddle and that bow gets heavy after a while. I don't care who you are. I don't care what bow you're shooting. Given time, you're gonna get weighed down by your gear. And so having a solid hook helps a lot. And honestly, what I've been using for saddle hunting, I see a lot of people with those bow arms, and I like those bow arms, but I guess I'm more like a like a freaking squirrel rather than a saddle hunter whenever I'm saddle hunting. So I like to be able to go all the way around the tree or be able to lean all the way over. I also use a thinner tree too, so I'm not having to like get a ring of steps or anything like that to go around the tree. I can just kind of pivot and I can go all the way around. And those bow arms just seem to get in the way for me a lot. And so what I've since started doing is just I've got a little I've got one little screw-in hook that I use sometimes, but I actually found one of the big screw-in steps for if you're screwing them into a tree just to hang up, just to stand. And I've got one of those too that I use, and that's actually what I've been putting my pack on. Or no, I think I put my pack on the little hook, and then I put my bow on the big hook. I'm really weird when it comes to my bow and trusting what that thing's sitting on or what's holding my bow in the air. And so if I can, I use my bigger one. If I accidentally forget my bigger one, then I use that little hook. But those bow arms, man, they just get in my way. Uh, and so I guess that also might be a little bit of some gear that I hate. I understand the practicality of them. If you're sitting in one solid spot where you know the deer are going to come in every single time, then those bow arms can be great because you can just set your bow up directly in front of you, but not quite in front of your like draw room, I guess. But I don't know, just not a big fan of the bow hooks or the bow hangers, honestly, um, or bow arms, whatever you want to call them. And then number five, what gear I'm planning to use for 2025. One thing that I do want to try and get before season starts is a like a climbing platform. I don't know if you guys have seen that online or on TikTok or anything like that, but they're coming out with these really really neat climbing platforms now, and they sit on your feet like a traditional climber, and so you're basically, rather than how my current method now, which is there's no real way around it. It's kind of inefficient. Is one sticking, and it works. It gets the job done, but it's a lot of work. And with these platforms, I've watched those guys use them, and man, they're up in a tree in like 3 minutes with like 20 feet of elevation. So they're killing it. So I really want to try and get one of those this season. And then I'm trying to think of what other gear. So like my cameras and stuff that I run Wild Game Innovations. Their cell cams, I really like them a lot. They've always been reliable for me. The battery life isn't as great as some other cameras that I've seen, but the picture quality is super nice, and they're just reliable, man. I don't know how. I mean, I really don't know how else to put it. Like I can go out there and I can set those cameras out at the Well, I just set some cameras out last week, and I won't have to go back there to change the batteries in them until probably right before season starts. But that's just because there's so much other wildlife other than deer coming through there, and so it's gonna be taking a bunch of pictures. I also like that, like during the off season and stuff like that, I don't buy a set like photo plan for my cameras. I actually just run the free monthly plan, which gives me 100 pictures for each camera. Because I mean, yeah, I do want to see what I like to see everything, of course, but I can't bring myself to spend the money on unlimited pictures during the off season. Whenever I can still see things that I want to see, if that makes sense. I can still track what bucks are moving through in the summer areas and stuff like that of where I hunt, and as well as the doe population, and the see how the fawns are doing and stuff like that. Make sure everybody's healthy and looking good. I can do all that with that free plan. I just don't get to see everything. So kind of sucks, but in a way it's working out because it's saving me a lot of money during that off season. And honestly, Wild Game Innovations is the only cell camera provider that I know of that gives a free plan like that. If you guys know of one, please put it down in the comments below and let me know what cameras y'all use. I've got a buddy that uses those Tacticams. Not a big fan of those, honestly. They're a little bit steep on price point for me just because I know how good of quality those Wild Game Innovations pictures are. But like I know a lot of people now are using those Moultries and stuff, and they're running some great deals on Moultries right now, also that are SD cardless. So no more SD card in there, and I guess it just uploads to a cloud. So might try and get one of those this season just to kind of test the waters and see, and take a look at what their plans are like as well. Uh, and then for saddles, I'm using XOP, like a saddle kit, and I was real hesitant on that last season because I was watching some different videos. Excuse me. I was watching some different videos, and a lot of people were saying, like whenever you're getting a saddle, don't cheap out. One, because I guess it can be dangerous, obviously. So reputable brands are one to look out for. Uh, and so I was thinking about getting a tethered, and was looking at it, and I just could not. I didn't know if I was gonna like it for one, so I couldn't really bring myself to spend the money on a tethered setup. And so I was like, well, I'll test the waters with XOP. I got on Amazon and was looking at the reviews and everything seemed pretty good. Went out there and checked on XOP's TikTok, and everything looked nice there. So I decided, okay, I'd get it. So I got the one that's it's the saddle, as well as the like actual hunter safety harness attached to it. And man, I love that thing. I've got that thing to where it's fine tuned now, where I can sit in it, and I've taken naps in it. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, Very, very, very comfortable saddle. Honestly, I couldn't recommend them anymore to like newer hunters or saddle hunters, people that are just wanting to get into the saddle hunting stuff. Uh, Really comfortable and a really nice, affordable option there. And the I don't how do I explain this without sounding rude? Um, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's cheap, but don't expect cheap quality with that thing. It really is a quality design. I don't know how XOP is able to put that thing out on the market for the price point that they do compared to the other major brands, but it's so freaking comfortable and it's reliable. It hadn't worn out on me yet. I used that thing all last season and I hunted a ton. I haven't noticed any wear on anything. Everything's held up great, and it's just comfortable. There's no hip pinch like I hear other saddle hunters talking about. Uh, the leg straps on there, they're easily adjustable and easy to reach, so you don't have to worry about anything there. It's just all around a really, really solid product. And I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not sponsored by any of the brands that I'm talking about right now. That's one product that I firmly believe in. That XOP setup is great. And then my sticks, I think I'm using a Hawk Helium stick. and it's one of the longer ones. I don't remember how long it is. And then I've just got like a 5 ring aider to go on the bottom of that stick, and that is what I use to get up in the tree. Sorry if y'all can hear my phone buzzing. It is hot in Oklahoma right now. It's about 100 degrees, so my phone's blowing up with heat advisories like every hour. So apologies in advance for that. Um, but yeah, I like that Hawk Helium stick. It's super light. I think it's probably the lightest piece of gear that I've got. Um, and so really enjoy that thing. It's been reliable. You wrap that thing around a tree and set it in there real good, and it does not budge. Even on some trees that I honestly shouldn't be hunting in because they're leaning a little bit or leaning a bad direction. I've never once had uh, that stick kick out on me. Um, and man, you can get into some small trees with saddle hunting too. Sorry, I'm squirreling off again. Uh, some other gear that I'm using, uh, I'm just using a simple finger release or a trigger release for my bow. Like I said, I'm using that Bear Alaskan XT. Um, I think I'm using a Trophy Ridge Hitman stabilizer. I don't remember if I got the 8 inch or the 12 inch, but really like it. And then I'm gonna work on getting a back bar here soon for it, just to offer myself a little bit more stability. But just holding that thing in the hand, like I said, I haven't got it tuned or anything. I haven't shot it, but it feels really solid in my hand. And then I'm using a Trophy Ridge. I want to say it's a 5 pin uh, on the bow. And then, man, what other gear am I using? Probably use my Hey Dudes. I'll probably get a lot of people saying, "What are you talking about?" I love wearing those Hey Dudes hunting, man. I don't. They're so quiet whenever it comes to walking into the woods that I don't know how to explain it. It's like I'm able to slip in and slip out and not sound like anything out of the ordinary, or at least what I think. Uh, who knows? A deer could still hear me and go, "Hey, that is not a deer. It's not a squirrel. It's not an armadillo. That is a human being." I don't know, but I have a lot of confidence in those things, and they're so freaking comfortable. They're a little bit uncomfortable when it comes to uh, climbing up a tree with the saddle, just because I've got that aider, that rope ladder essentially, on that stick, and so it makes it a little bit hard at times to climb up into a tree. But once you get up there, man, it's super comfy. Um, so yeah, big shout out to Hey Dudes again, not a sponsor. Um, just really like those, really like those shoes, I guess, or moccasins. I don't know what you'd call those things. Heaven, they're great. Um, some other gear that I use. Trying to figure out right now whether I want to try some First Light this season or if I want to try set of some Sitka. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys use. I know like over in Alaska where my father lives now, they're real big on that Kuiu brand. Uh, they really like that brand a lot. I just haven't seen really any solid patterns that would really fit or mesh for where I'm hunting at, I guess, if that makes sense in terms of like early season stuff. Late season it'd be great. Once all the leaves fall off and stuff like that, Kuyu's got some really neat gray patterns. Uh, but I've been thinking about trying some Sitka out. I've got a, brother-in-law that really enjoys his, as well as a good buddy that I duck hunt with has recently switched to just all Sitka stuff, and he said he loves it too. Um, so might give those a try. I think honestly right now I'm just using some. I think I've just got some Walmart camo. Honestly, I hunt really hard, and so it's hard for me at times to want to buy some real great stuff. When it comes to like insulated gear, I think I'm using some. I think I've got some redhead bibs that I use that are insulated, and then I've got a real nice thick redhead matching jacket with it, and I really enjoy that thing too. It's super warm. Neither one of those have let me down there, so really enjoy that also. Trying to think what other gear, man. Uh, Yeah, I'm at a loss, honestly. I think that's pretty much all the gear that I'm gonna use this season. Oh, I did get a one of those see-through ground blinds this last season. I never actually got to take it out, but I've got it. Um, and so I'll probably get a good couple of hunts in with my oldest son. He's 6 now, in that thing, and see what we can do. Um, really neat design. I had seen all the TikTok ads and all the YouTube videos and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, man, it looks cool, but is it actually that see-through? Because on the camera it doesn't look that great. But man, I can attest. Once you set that thing up, it's pretty crazy. I mean, you see everything, and you can see through it a lot more than what the camera picks up actually. So that's another really cool thing that I plan on using at some point. Don't know how much I'll use it, but I do plan on using it. And then anything else here? Anything else? I think that's pretty much. Oh, my broadheads. My broadheads I'm using are the G5 Mega Meats. Really enjoy those things. I had switched up because I had a lot of trouble with expandable broadheads in the past, and I'm sure some of you guys have too. But I started out shooting rages and shot a doe at like 5 yards and didn't hit the ribs as clean as I wanted to. I think I hit a bit of scapula, and that thing just, I mean, I found my arrow and my broadhead took a 90-degree angle on it. So after that, I switched from rage and went to Schwacker and used those. I think I shot one doe with the Schwacker, but my blades didn't deploy. Like that rubber band for whatever reason did not deploy, and or didn't break to allow those blades to deploy. So it was a really long tracking job. And then once I found the arrow, I was pretty disappointed. And then I went to fixed blades and was shooting the Magnus Stingers with the I think it's the buzz cuts, and they've got the two bleeder blades on either side, and I liked those a lot. But this year I was like, you know what? I want to try an expandable again, just kind of going out on a limb, because a lot of my kill shots that I'm taking for these deer are within anywhere from 5 to 20 yards. So it's not like I've got to really worry about. I'm not shooting at like 50 yards through corn in Nebraska or anything like that. So I don't really have to worry about my arrow flight too terribly much. So I was like, I'll go with an expandable again. And I know I've got enough kinetic energy that close where most of the time, most of these expandable broadheads are going to open up anyway. So I started looking around and I found G5 and I was like, yeah, man, those look cool. And started checking them out. And then I saw this YouTube short, I think, and it was of someone shooting the Mega Meat and saw it and saw the just insane amount of damage that broadhead did just on impact, uh, let alone the exit and how good of a blood trail that they were getting. And I was like, you know what, that might be worth a shot. So I got the Mega Meats and shot a doe on the opener, and she bled like no other. Really enjoyed it. So I was like, well, I guess I'll keep rocking it, keep hunting with that thing. And then shot my buck with it as well. And my buck ran a little bit further, but the shot angle that I had on that buck when I shot him, it wasn't the broadhead's fault. It was my fault. Um, for one, I was super pumped up, super excited in that moment, and so my shot could have been a little bit better. And then two, just the angle that he was. I didn't realize he was at the angle that he was, if that makes sense. And so he wound up running. I think he ran probably 120 yards before I found him, but still really solid blood, honestly, until he ran through some grass, and that was just on me. I'm colorblind, so it's really hard for me to see the blood on the grass sometimes. Uh, but real consistent blood trails on both, honestly. So I couldn't recommend those Mega Meats enough. That'll be what I'm shooting this season as well. Uh, and I don't plan on switching up anytime soon. Honestly, I guess I'll see how it goes. I've seen the Beast broadheads and the Severs and all that people are shooting, and they look cool. Uh, but I'm a pretty big firm believer in the Mega Meats now. really enjoy those broadheads. So like I said, I'll probably wind up sticking with those for some time. Uh, what's some other gear that I'm planning to use? I guess like my filming gear. I plan on trying a muddy camera arm out. I know I was just knocking the bow arms, but I'm gonna wind up having to have an arm so that way I can film content for you guys uh, and myself. So I'll be using that muddy camera arm, and then like what I'm filming on the podcast with right now is just an iPhone, uh, and so I'll have that. I've got a GoPro as well. Probably try and find one of those MagSafe stabilizer mounts for your phone. That way I can attach my phone to it, and then I can have my GoPro sitting up further on top of the tree and kind of angled down a little bit at me, so that way I can get myself on camera as well in the moment. So, but other than that, I mean, like microphone wise, I'm using a DJI Mic Mini 2. So far, I really like that thing. I don't even have the other part of the mic that plugs into the phone right now. I'm using a third party software or a third party recording software that allows me to use just the Bluetooth function on the mic, and I really enjoy it so far. I hope the audio comes out clear. I do have a dead cat on this, so I'm hoping y'all can't hear the deep freeze. It's not that big of an inconvenience, but there is a slight whirring sound over here. Uh, so hopefully everything sounds good. And if it's a little bit echoey, I do plan on getting some soundproofing and stuff like that, and improving the lighting a little bit more over time. Um, but I figure any content's better than no content right now, just starting out. So I think that's probably going to wrap it up for my podcast. I've got some other little short videos that I'm going to be doing today as well that I'll get out for you guys this week, just going over some other little things. Um, and just kind of going a little bit more in depth on some different gear and things of that nature. So stay tuned for that. And like I said, plan on filming a podcast every single Sunday. Hopefully, I can get some decent guests lined up as well for you guys to be able to watch. Also, doing a podcast by myself is fine, but it'll go a lot smoother, and there'll be a whole lot more parody, and we can listen to some other goofy stories and stuff like that with some real solid guests. So stay tuned for that. And other than that, guys, I think that's going to do it. So hope y'all enjoyed this first episode. Please don't forget to like, comment your thoughts down below on some of the topics we talked about today. And last but not least, subscribe, please. That is what gets this thing going. That's what can eventually get me to where I can get some better gear and hopefully pick up some different sponsors and stuff like that to be able to give you guys some deals also. So, yeah, guys, that's going to do it for me. Thank y'all so much. We appreciate it. And as always, stay winging it.